Well, hello, Good Vibes Show fans. Welcome to episode 10 of season 15 of the Good Vibes Show by me, Jay Haley, part of the Special Chronicles Network. Hope you've all been catching up on season 15, folks, episodes 1 through 9, as well as seasons 1 through 14 of the Good Vibes Show, as well as their recaps, season recap specials, as well as my special series, The Road to 2022 USA Games, which talks about my training up to and the experience and the results of my training at the 2022 Special Olympics USA Games in Orlando, Florida. So, folks, for those who are tuning in really late into season 15, season 15 is all about the Good Vibe Show. So far we've talked about a lot of things. Right now we're on talking about each of the two seasons per episode. So these last 3 episodes are going to talk about the last 6 recent seasons. So today's episode is about season 9 and 10, in which actually I was looking back at my subject matter on this, and seasons 9 and 10 actually have subject matter. So season 9 was all around neurodiversity, and I chose to go that route because I felt it was a powerful way to do things. And at the time, I was a big thing on neurodiversity, and I'm big on neurodiversity as well. And it kind of this worked out well. And I think there were a lot of great things I said in there, and it was worth revisiting. I think I'm still proud of talking about neurodiversity stuff and actually still talk about it greatly as well these days. And I think it's all important to say that we talk about that still. And with how the things are going lately, it's kind of like a big thing. So yeah, it's sort of a big thing I'm dealing with, and I still am very supportive of it. And neurodiversity is kind of a big thing in this because actually there was different times throughout the show. Honestly, excuse me for a second, that actually talked about various neurodiversity things, but never was there solely a season on neurodiversity. So that's how season 9 came to be, was slowly focused on the theme of neurodiversity. And actually there were like kind of a appreciation support vibes thing, and then there was a positive uplifting vibes. Like there always was, I think, up to a certain point in the show that there were two different things going on. I think eventually that does change out, I believe, at certain seasons. I don't recall when, but I believe season 9 was one of the last few seasons because I think it was in season. Yeah, it was season 9 was the last one, I believe, where I did the two separate vibe sections, in which technically now they're not much talked about. And I think how I look at it now is maybe that's something I should never give up on. But I was like, if you're thinking about for a person who's trying to be the soul, who's the producer, the director, the host, like literally I have literally all roles here in the Give Out show. And yeah, not easy and to think about they're trying to do that and such. And that's kind of interesting how that whole season went. And I think it was the last season. I believe it is the last season that actually did the two separate themings because all the other seasons had it, but this was the last one. And I can verify that very quick with my trusty notebook here. This is where my ideas are. You might have heard something move briefly because I actually was picking up a case to move this, so apologies right off the bat to everyone. And I am going to confirm right now to you that it was actually season 8 was the last one I did the separate things because season 9, I stand corrected. Season 9 was actually the first time I switched solely to actually having things. So yes, you heard me move a case to get this notebook I'm showing right now for those watching the video. This is actually where I write all the ideas for the Good Vibe show. And here, there is a separate one for the season recap socials, by the way. There is a separate one. So yeah, this is how I do all my write-ins, by the way, folks. So I'm going to put that down right now. And you might hear that drop for a few seconds. But yeah, just showing you that I am talking about that. And actually, I stand corrected. Season 8 was the last one where I did the two separate vibes. Season 8 was, so season 9 was totally the first time where I just talked about the whole thing together. Or they were separate vibes. I had to recheck the writings. In the writing of what I wrote, there isn't. But I believe there is scripted wise. I had to double check. But reality is season 8 or 9 was the last one I did the two separate vibes in. So forth and so on. So that's the whole theme around season 9. Now, season 10 is the first of 2 seasons I talk about animals. So now you're wondering why I did animals. And well, might as well do it for once because it's the Good Vibe Show. Like, might as well come up with some interesting theme. Yes, it was the first season with animals because then there was a second season with animals, which we talked about in next week's episode because that's season 11. And it's kind of interesting to talk about that, oddly. And I think when I was talking about animals, it was just like a fun thing I wanted to do. And I'm like, oh, let's try to talk about animals because why not? Because no one's probably done it or people have done it before. But yes, I focused on different animals I thought that were kind of cool. And obviously, if I had to go back to my notebook again, which is now next to my side for those who've already seen it or heard the noise in the background, and so forth and so on. So yeah, it was the first season talking about animals. And I did it because I felt it was a nice thing to do, and I thought it was appropriate to do at the time. And I still think it's appropriate, especially when it actually got a sequel season 2. Like, kind of deserved it, and I think it was worth it. And I know I'm getting ahead of myself in next week's episode, folks. But yeah, the first one was just like it was a concept I went with, and I worked with it, and I liked it, and it just worked. And I think it's one of the more interesting seasons I had for sure. But I think it's like one of the very few seasons that I stuck with a theme idea. And I think seasons 9 through 14, including this season, are all theme based, to be honest, because I got tired of coming up with random ideas, honestly. But yeah, that's just how the Good Vibe Show worked. It was more all random ideas at times, and now the Good Vibe Show has officially moved into the realm of having themes. And I know some people are impressed that you went and did that. For what reason? Because, well, I got bored. Really, I didn't get bored. I just thought it was more able to guide the conversation better. And what I'm doing, I think it has proven itself worthy in talking about that. I think looking at seasons 9 and 10, where they were the first 2 theme seasons, they worked out very well. And because of them, I kept going with a theme idea. So yeah, it worked out well, and I had to sort of remind myself before I look at another next one, because I know each of the next few seasons all had various themes, but they're themes that worked with one or were meant to be used at a time, depending on how you look at it. So, but I thank you all for tuning in for this episode, and let's wrap up today's episode with our great sponsor from the Special Chronicles Network. The Good Vibe Show is proudly featured on the Special Chronicles Network. Visit specialchronicles.com for links to follow on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Be sure to also subscribe to the newsletter and find the podcast page for this podcast, The Good Vibe Show by me, Jerry Holy. If you love The Good Vibe Show, then you love the other podcast on the Special Chronicles Network. Visit specialchronicles.com for links to subscribe to our podcast, newsletter, and to follow us on social media. And to support the podcast on Special Chronicles so we can continue our mission to gain respect and place with people with special talents and abilities. Visit specialchronicles.com/give to make a gift today. So, folks, that's the good thing there. Also, remember, folks, to follow the Good Vibe Show on Instagram at Good Vibes by JH, Facebook, facebook.com/Good Vibes by JH, YouTube, youtube.com/Good Vibes by JH. You can also subscribe to the Good Vibe Show by me, Jerry Hill, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or where you get your podcasts from. And if you want to support me and such, you can look me up on Revo, look up Jerry M. Holy. You'll find my amazing Revo store. I'm still working on some fun ideas for new designs and such. So yeah, we'll want them on there. If I could show on frame right there. Actually, you can see it is the Give Vibe Show flower. That's one I came up with. It's on this Hawaiian shirt, which actually is not sold on Revo. This is one of a kind, folks. If you ever want to do a Hawaiian shirt, I could tell you who to reach out to for that. But that's a conversation for another day and such. So yeah, until next week, folks, I hope you all have a great week. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. So until next time, folks, peace out. Bubala. Have a great time, everyone. And I'll see you next week for episode 11. Until then, folks, have a great week. And I'll see you next time, folks, for episode 11 of The Good Vibe Show by me, Jerry Hoy, part of the Special Chronicles. Bye, everyone.